Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to formally welcome our esteemed dignitaries to the program. May I request Professor Vimal Katiyar sir to felicitate and welcome Honorable Shri Prakash Javadekar ji with the traditional Fulam Gamusa and a bouquet.
Professor Vimal Katiyar, both the Vice Chancellors, S.P. Singh and Rajendra Shende, my colleague. He's a great passionate environmentalist and was looking and worked in United Nations Environmental Program for many years. So he has started initiative which we started during my tenure as Education Minister, as Environment Minister, and is taking it forward. I'm mentoring it. So I'm very happy today in IIT Guwahati campus. How many of you are in Guwahati campus? Okay, so take. So this is a township itself, 5,000 students, 1,500 staff and others, faculties and supporting staff, their families. So it's a township of 10,000 people. This is the best period and good location. But earlier it was very difficult. When I came for the first time, it took me to cross the bridge because there was only one bridge. So it took me at least 2 hours. Now it was not even 10 minutes. So this is what infrastructure brings in changes in our lives. And not only that, I saw the whole camp area also. All this area is getting developed very fast. Because when you provide ease of living, you also develop fast. So IIT Guwahati, all IITs practically are crown of our education system. And what I feel is that there are best of the best students. What can you have more? Because first JEE and then advanced JEE. And you are here. Some are doing 10 years, 5 years of undergraduation, 3 years of MTech and 2 years of PhD. 2 years of MTech and 3 years of PhD. Some are doing 5 years of undergraduate and then they'll go in the market. This is the best time of our life. We must enjoy it, and there are 15 universities and institutes which have come here for a very relevant topic and for a very Hindi bolu, English bolu. Hindi bolta hu. Chalo, हाँ English, थोड़ा English, थोड़ा हिंदी. तो ये जिंदगी का इतना अच्छा अवसर होता है कि इसमें हर एक क्षण का अच्छा उपयोग करें तो जिंदगी में बहुत कुछ काम कर सकते हैं. I don't believe and we don't believe in achieving personal career heights only. Through personal career heights, we serve the society at large. That is what should be our aim. We are here to learn to serve. और इसलिए यह बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है. अब now let me come to the topic today, which is very important. World over, people are experimenting landslides, people are experimenting glacier melting, people are experimenting sea level rise, experimenting more hurricanes, experimenting more erratic rains, cloud burst, sudden droughts, sudden means Rajasthan and Kutch, which were regarded as the driest part of India, got the wettest in last 2-3 years. And Cherrapunji is dry. Not dry actually, but still that what we learnt in our schools, that Cherrapunji gets the highest rain, that doesn't get now. Why this happens? All these are natural phenomena. But in last few years, we are witnessing the ferocity and the destruction potential of all these erratic behavior of natural calamities in climates, because we are experimenting and living in the age of climate change. But climate change has not happened in last 10 or 15 years. There is a history. And latest study in environment also has confirmed that the excess carbon emissions which have into the atmosphere are creating this problem. And this carbon emission remains in air for 150 years. It's not one day history. It's not yesterday you did it and today you are, if you eat some, who is talking there? Ask him to stop. So, it is not as if we have eaten something and today we are suffering. That is not the case. This is over 150 years after industrialization, because there is a basic natural balance in our life. We inhale oxygen, we exhale carbon dioxide. Trees inhale carbon and exhale oxygen for us. This is the complementary arrangement of nature. That's why Earth is living. But when you do more carbon emissions, because of industrialization it started. So who is responsible for this? Last 200 years, those countries which did largest emission, excess emissions, have prospered at the cost of nature. In historical contributions, America is 35%. Europe is another 30%. China is nearly 20%. Historical, I am talking of. Over the centuries. And all others are in 10%, in which India is only 3% contribution in the historical emissions, which we are suffering today. But though we are less emitter, we are suffering. So this is the context which we must never forget. So this current situation, which is very bad and is becoming worst every year, poor people pay the price for that. If there are hurricanes, more. If there are droughts, if there are floods, if there are heavy rains, if there are cloudbursts, if the whole climate changes, all this impacts not only farming, but it impacts everybody's life. And therefore we must act. Now what is the current situation? Today India is doing progress, but let me say it with pride that even today India is just 7% of the total emissions current. China is 30-35%, America is 20%, Europe is again 25%, and others. rest. So even today we are not, because I'll tell you where the emission gets started. Say for petrol. If you are using cars in India, we have only 25 cars per 1,000 population. Only 25 cars per 1,000 population. In America it is 600 per 1,000. In Japan it is 400. In Europe it is 500. So when you run that much of vehicles, you will definitely be consuming fuel. And that is also one emission source. Other is industrial. China is much more, but actually I feel always that who is responsible for the emissions? The producer or the consumer? Because China is producing, America is consuming. So they must take burden of that. And so in Copenhagen it was decided that all countries will take action, but the rich countries, those who are responsible for climate change, and those who are prosperous today, they will pay $100 billion a year. This was decided in 1999, 2003. And now 21 years, not even $10 billion, $100 billion have come throughout these 24 years, 20 years. So this is the discourse on climate change. And we must know this context. We should not feel that we are responsible. We should not feel that we are guilty. Others are guilty, but we are sufferers. But yes, Modi says that we have to act for the betterment of the world and for betterment of ourselves. And you know, Indian lifestyle is very simple. I was coming and I saw in hostels, that's an Indian trademark, that people dry their clothes in sun. Sun-dried clothes. People dry it in machine, but we do it. This is nature, using solar power. Our whole lifestyle is, what your mother or father have from childhood have told us, don't waste. Take only how much you require, don't waste. In America, they say, oh, this is the dish, you take whatever you want, rest is gone to waste. No, we don't waste. That is also Indian ethos. We are the only country which worships animal, worships birds. So let it be bullock, cow, or any other animals, elephants, everything, because we believe in coexistence of the whole nature together. That also we must be proud of. And now I will tell you one story which I am very sure many of you may not have heard this. 200 years ago, in Rajasthan's Khechadi village, the king ordered to cut the trees on, say, 100 acres, because he wanted to make some different use of that ground. But there were full trees, very old and grown up. So the Vishnois, of which Amruta Devi was the leader, she started first पेड़ को बचाओ, दैट वाज द आंदोलन। और उसमें सब पेड़ को पकड़े खड़े रहे। राजा ने कहा कैसे नहीं तोड़ने देते, इनके सर तोड़ दो, काटो। तो लोग डगे नहीं। 300 people sacrificed there to save the trees in India. That is the real story of India. Nowhere in the world this has happened. Nowhere in the world. So we must be proud of our tradition, of our history, of our culture. But now we have to act. And if we don't act, the future will be grim. Now you are witnessing on TVs that the whole Europe has reached to 40% also. Greece and everywhere, people are absolutely gone mad in California and everywhere. Suddenly there is more chilling in many parts of other world. So this is what is happening. और इसलिए भविष्य में ये संकट और बढ़ेगा, लेकिन इस संकट के लिए हम जिम्मेवार नहीं है। लेकिन एक जिम्मेदार नेशन के तहत, एज ए रिस्पॉन्सिबल नेशन, we all have to take action. And fortunately, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was the first Chief Minister to start Environment Department and, more importantly, Climate Change Department in Gujarat. He started first good use of solar power by putting solar panels on the irrigation canals. There are 3 advantages of putting solar panel. You don't require another space, separate space, because you are covering the water, evaporation stops. And third and most interesting added advantage is when the cold water is flowing below, solar energy is produced more, 10%, 15%. So he started when he was, and he actually has written to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh then, that we must organize a Surya Putra Desh Sammelan, International Solar Alliance. Countries within the tropic of Cancer and Capricorn get the most heat. So they are the best for the solar energy. So that solar energy has to be, we all must unite for producing more solar energy. It's completely natural. It's no carbon emission. And I was Environment Minister then, Climate Change Minister then. So in Paris, he took the initiative, and I'm the witness to the whole enthusiasm around in the conference on this International Solar Alliance. More than 100 countries are to the part of the game, and we are moving forward. Latest, Modi ji has said that all rooftops to be covered, 1 crore rooftops will be covered in next 1 or 2 years with adequate solar cover, solar panels, so that they will get monthly. Means if somebody knows the calculation, by 5 kilowatt you produce nearly 20. So 2.5 kilowatt makes you 10 units per day production. So 300 units you will get free. this is to encourage people to have more solar use. Now solar vehicles are also popular. I was Minister for Heavy Industries also, which was looking after this solar and electric vehicles. Electric vehicles, actually it is not, it can be both, but it doesn't emit. It doesn't pollute the city. If you are using the coal-based power generation for charging, it is emitting, but not directly, it is dispersed emission. So electric vehicles are growing. There was a problem in the initial years, whether to establish charging stations first or whether to move ahead with the electric vehicles. It is like which comes first, egg or मुर्गी पहले या अंडा पहले, ये होता है. तो इसमें we have taken lead, and when he declared, because that time till 2015 the India's solar power was just 20 gigawatts. He said 100 gigawatts in 5 years. We were also thrilled, but we were also skeptic whether it will happen. But we made it. Now, then he declared 175, then he declared 300 gigawatt, and now he has declared by 2030 we will have 500 gigawatts. Because you have to make less carbon emission. That's the theme of climate change action. So, bring carbon emission intensity, what it is today, to a lower level by producing the same but more efficiently with new technology. You can achieve that. And we have started it. And we have achieved, we decided in 15, I signed that, NDC, that 40% of our energy will be from non-fossil fuel sources. But today we have got more than nearly 50%. And that's what we have promised now. We promised reduction of carbon intensity to the extent of 35%. We have already more than 40%. So India is achieving target. Practically, India is the only G20 countries which is overachieved its targets. Petrol and ethanol, I was telling ethanol. Now we have decided to have, today we have 5%, then we started with 10% blending. Now we will have 20% blending without amending the machines, engines of cars and vehicles. 20% blending, that much fossil fuel is saved. That is the benefit. Infrastructure. The more infrastructure you build, the more convenience you. I will just give one example again. The same bridge, when it used to took 2 hours, how much emission and pollution? Now it is 10 minutes, how much less pollution and emission? This is the biggest advantage of infrastructure also. We have to achieve more energy efficiency. How to do it? All these are now LED bulbs. Go anywhere, there is LED bulbs. Why that was not prevalent before 2014? Because that time price of 9 watt of LED bulb was 350 rupees. We called, Modi ji called all the manufacturers, international and national, and said that we will buy 2 billion LED bulbs. Tell us the price. And then it started collapsing. Now it is just 70 rupees, from 300 rupees to 70 rupees a bulb. That's a big achievement. And more than 2 billion people have purchased their own also. Government has given subsidized rate to 38 crore people, but we have, we are doing LED bulbs. This reduces the power consumption. This reduces the emission. This helps, is a good green climate work, climate action. And therefore, all these are, people are suffering because of floods and everything. Now you always frequently see NDRF and SDRF, National Disaster Relief. Immediately, any disaster, immediately they reach, they take boats. So the life which used to vanish are saved. This is happening. This is our positive approach. And so this is called adaptation. Because those who will suffer the distress, suffer the sufferings of climate change, they need to come together and have a coalition of raise the disaster resistant infrastructure. So that CDRI alliance also Modi ji has built, and more than 70 countries are part of it. So there are so many actions. Green. When I was education minister, I went to Jaipur NIT. They said, Sir, you have to plant the tree. No, I said, call one student. I called somebody. I said, you plant. I told the institute that put a name on it, that this student has planted it. It is his child. It is his tree. So he will ensure that it grows nicely. First year students, you can also do that. And in Assam, anything you put, it grows. It's so good in Assam. So, one tree, if we create, that is a new idea. How much we require oxygen throughout our life? Somebody measured it. And how many trees I have to need to plant so that I create my own oxygen bank. Like in bank, we put our fixed deposit and take the interest and we live with it. Like that, if we plant 7 trees in life, and planting is not just planting on one day, ensure its full growth. That is important. Plant and grow. If we do that, that is what gives you a complete self-sufficiency in oxygen, because you have added that much oxygen to the nature, so you have right to exist and inhale oxygen bank. So this is all about the climate change. अगर समझेंगे तो बहुत आसान है. ये लाइफस्टाइल इशू है. Prime Minister Modi in 2015 Paris Climate Agreement, he put very effectively the lifestyle issue. Unless we change the lifestyle, we can't fight this menace. He appealed the world. Now he has come with millet. What is this? This is again pro-climate change action. It's a good climate action. So all this, save the water, generate the water. Right from brushing the teeth, you just see how much we are using and how much less we can use it. I take one thing. I do one mug, I take first, keep it there, wash the teeth and use it. In one mug it is over. Otherwise, if it is flowing continuously, it will be one bucket. That also we have to think, because the next wars will be about water. And therefore, save the water, generate the water. Here, it's a very good landscape. So you can have watershed development. Really scientifically, it will be green everywhere, and more importantly, it will be water everywhere. It is there because you are at the bank of Brahmaputra. That is already there, but we have to save water and generate water. We have to save electricity and generate electricity. You are doing it. He said that more than 50% of our requirements will be made by more than 60% will be made by solar energy. This is generating energy and saving energy. Means just switch off when you are not using. Even the computers and everything that continued when we keep all machines, including TV and everything on, 5% of electricity goes waste. So we have to make habit that we'll close, we'll shut it, and we'll open it. So these are simple things. So green action, saving and processing the waste, you are already doing. You are doing compost. 600 kg of food waste every day. That is also Indian. If the same number of students in American university, they would be wasting 6,000 kgs. But in India, we are all nurtured in that way that we don't waste. We take in plate only what we want. So it is less and good, but we are processing it. So all this is what it is today. What we have gathered is this action plan is called Smart Campus Network. This is called Net Zero Campus. And Shende and his colleagues are preparing a monitor or a meter telling you about how much energy you are using now, how much you are using. And every student will get on his mobile through app a score, daily score of our university's climate score. That he will get. That is why we are trying and convincing all universities. I am happy that more than 100 universities have joined to this effort. When I told his Prime Minister, he was happy. Because such movements are not to be done by government alone. It has to be societal action. And that is what we are doing. So I am very happy to be here in Guwahati just to meet you and share with my views and our determination. I am very sure that there was a film you may have seen. Has anybody seen 2012? There was a cinema. You don't see cinemas? Yesterday I saw Albert Einstein and the Bomb. 76-minute film on Netflix. But you all must see it because there is philosophy of it. Why he was hesitant after he invented M is equal to E squared. E is equal to MC square. So with little mass you can produce tremendous energy. And with relativity, he could understand that it can be put to the best use by producing energy and can be disastrous by preparing the bomb. But in that picture he says, because he was Jew and there was tremendous injustice meted out to Jews in Germany. So he said, then when there is organized destructive force, we will also reply by organized force. And that was the essentially logic of the bomb. But I will just say, just see this. And there is Oppenheimer also, film called Oppenheimer. It's a beautiful film. So student will not only study, student will all this, because this enriches us. Okay, thank you.